The biggest thing that I tell people is, how much is your time worth? That's the true question, because some of these people charge hundreds of dollars per hour. And to go, do you want to sit and spend 8 hours sitting in front of ChatGPT trying to figure it out? Or are you willing to invest to speed up that process to get those returns in a very short time?
Hey there, thanks for joining me today. I am Amanda Dake, and I am here with Sani Nielsen, and I cannot wait to get this conversation started. So, Sani, tell me a little bit about you, not just the work stuff, but a little bit about you, where you live, what you're about.
So I am a copywriter from Utah, which most people think is a little bit odd because most of my clients are based out of California and internationally. But I find that Utah is such a great natural location that it's full of creativity and really helps me bring the most energy and, impact for my clients around the world. So that's what I like to do. And that's how I bring that to my copywriting business.
So you have a copywriting business. What does that look like? What does that mean for people that may not understand? Because, now we can access ChatGPT or whatever, and we can tell it we want something and it'll spit it out, but that's not really copywriting. So tell me about what that really is for you.
Absolutely. ChatGPT is a fantastic tool. It's a word builder. I like to more call it that than a copywriting person. A lot of people like to think it is, but the specialty in that copywriting is all about finding the right word to say to the right person at the right time, and particularly in this day and age, the right medium or platform to get to that next yes. And I think one of those things that ChatGPT doesn't do well without really good prompting is to map that out across the entire customer journey and to really consider, where is this person along the journey, right? Where did they come in? How are we going to guide them step by step towards the first yes, the next yes, and to continue building that relationship towards, that raving fan status so that they can go out there and then become advocates for your own business.
Yeah. So that reminds me of Eugene Schwartz and the levels of awareness. So it's super important. If you aren't familiar with that, it's basically you got to meet your customer or your prospect where they are. So if you think about the levels of awareness, and if you think about a triangle, I think is how Eugene had it, but you can do this in any way. Some people have no idea that they have a problem, and they have no idea that there needs to be a solution. Like, they are totally unaware of anything and of you too, right? And then you have people that are aware that they have a problem, but they have no idea what the solution is, right? And then you have people that have awareness around their problem and they have awareness around their solution. And now they're just looking to find the person that can give them that solution. So it's very important, like you're saying, to meet them with the copy where they're at. So I can't give a person that doesn't understand their problem because they don't know they have a problem. I can't give them my solution because they'll just glaze right over it. So how do you help your clients determine where their prospects are on those levels of awareness?
So I actually have a slightly controversial take on Eugene Schwartz's triangle, or a lot of people in the business world think of it as the sales funnel, right? You see the inverse triangle where people come in the top and they funnel down to the bottom. I particularly don't like that perspective because it implies that there's no action and there's no intent that has to happen with the individual going through it. So I actually flip the funnel and I call it the ladder. Because when you think of a ladder, you have to take action. You have to put forth energy to go from one step to the next. So when I go and I work with a client, it really is about saying, what is your ultimate goal, right? Is it signing up a $10,000 coaching client, or is it I'm trying to build my email list? Maybe I'm launching a $10 course. A $10 course or a $10,000 course, those are different journeys. Yeah. But it's kind of the same process ultimately of understanding, where are we going to bring them in? How many steps does it take to reach that yes for the $10 or the 10,000. And so it's just being able to sit with the client and say, what's the goal? How do we map from start to finish? And then where are those key trigger points, right? Each rung on the ladder to address. So when you know Facebook ad people, probably at the bottom of the ladder. Someone who might know you, watch your YouTube channel, and they've consumed all of your content, they are much higher on that ladder because they've already done the work to climb those rungs. And that's where we work with clients to make sure that they get exactly what they need at that exact point to get to the yes.
So is it okay if you only want to speak to the problem-aware, solution-aware people? Like for me, I don't really want to have to educate someone and convince them that I can solve a problem that they didn't know they had. You know what I'm saying? So I love to help people that understand they have a problem. And problem sounds negative, but they just may want something, and maybe I can give that to them. Those are the people I love to attract, and I just don't want to I don't want the whole ladder. I just want the step stool, I guess you could say. So is that possible? Like, can you pick where you want to be and who you want to talk to?
Absolutely.
Through that.
100%. And the best way to do that is to be able to understand all of those steps of the ladder. Oftentimes, business owners they assume I have to do everything at all of those stages. Just because you identify them doesn't mean that you are attacking each of them. Because if you recognize those people who are unaware of the problem, if you understand what those pain points are, you know you're not speaking to them, which means you don't have to put forth the energy to do any of that, right? You have limited time, limited resources. So once you've identified each of those rungs, it's so much easier to then create content, to create programs, to create the attraction to those high-level people who are already in the market to buy, who already know that they have the problem. They've probably even done some research and said, I need to find the best solution, right? Those are the hungry people. And that's really where the sales comes in. Everything below that, when you look at the ladder, usually there's roughly 5 stages in Eugene Schwartz's, triangle there. And the first 3 are all educational. And most business owners don't recognize that. That's valuable information. And that's what the YouTube channel is for. That's what the email list is for, so that you can still provide value to those people. You're not knocking them, and you're not saying you're not for me.
Right.
You're simply saying you're not there yet.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I think when you can also talk to a person that isn't quite ready to buy, although we would love everyone to just be ready to give us all their money, right? So, but that's not always the case. But it helps you to be able to distill your own message when you have to break it down and talk to someone that isn't at that level yet. How do you do that with a client? Do you go in and extract that messaging from them and then break it down for them? Or how does that really work with your process?
Absolutely. So once we've identified, each stage within that ladder, then it's a lot easier for us to then go through their existing content, whether they have an existing course, whether they have a YouTube channel. And so then we can simply match what those pain points are. What are the things that they are talking about, that the comments, the feedback that you get from people who say, I really like your course. I really want to sign up, but I feel like there's this obstacle. There's this here. And chances are you've already addressed it. It just may be packaged differently, or it might be in the middle of a longer segment or a larger piece. And that's where myself and my team, we can go through, pull from the content, and usually the vast body of work with a lot of my clients, because they have so much background, and we can say, you've already answered that. Let's just pull it out and bring it front and center so that you can present that. And that's how you remove those obstacles one by one.
I think that you may think this too, whenever I work with experts, because they have mastered their craft, whatever that is. And I know that sounds cliche. I don't like that term very much, but they've become a master at whatever it is they're doing. And now they're helping other people get to that level of where they are. It's really hard for them to go back to the beginning before they were a master and tell someone what they need to do as the basics, right? I have a client right now that I work with that he is so proficient at what he does, but if he tries to come down from that, he thinks it's so elementary and that nobody's going to listen to it or like even value what he says because he thinks it's so simple. But that simplicity is the actual message that many of the people that he's trying to attract need to hear. They don't need to have the high level thoughts yet because they are still way down here at the bottom of that ladder, right? So how do you have a knack of or a way to extract that super simple stuff from your clients that they probably think is irrelevant?
It's a common fallacy with subject matter experts because they have so much knowledge in there that as soon as they open their mouth, they either give you the avalanche or they do think that those initial steps are too small, too little, no one's going to care, it's irrelevant. Some of it is reminding them how many years of experience do you actually have? And chances are, if you have 10 plus years of experience, there's knowledge there. And you have to remember, you are just showing people the path you've already taken. The second thing that I do is it really comes down to interviewing. Once we've talked to them about what their process is, it's breaking down individually. When you say, I just do this. You get that a lot from experts. Well, I just do this. It's just simple. I just do that. It really is as easy as going, explain that to me in a different way. What's the extra step? If you just do that and it's simple prompts, do you use a platform? Do you use a software? Do you write it on paper? There are little prompts like that allow them to start thinking and go, oh, actually I open this book. I use this particular platform. And then it gets their brain going, well, I use that platform because I actually don't like this one and it's way outdated over here. Or I developed my own or came up with my own tactic. And so some of it is that little bit of journalistic going, I know there's something deeper there. Let's dig just a little bit.
I think that's really valuable because you could potentially write your own copy, I guess, but to have someone like you helping to extract the information in a way that other people can consume it where they're at, I think is so important. And like, even if we're using Chat GPT or any other AI to help you write sales copy or whatever it is, it's not going to prompt you like that. It's not going to tell me, ask you to do that. So I think working with an actual human that is experienced at writing valuable, converting copy is so important. And I think it's not that copywriters there are not a lot of them. I mean, and there's not very many great ones. So what would you say to someone that maybe has their offer, they've got their pages, they're just having a hard time getting, people to raise their hands, even if it's just for a lead magnet? What would you say to that person to maybe get them to consider having someone like yourself take a look and help them tweak it, right? It doesn't even need to be like starting from scratch. But what would you say to that person that is struggling a little bit and maybe needs copy and they don't even know it?
The biggest thing that I tell people is, how much is your time worth? That's the true question. And especially looking at high-level entrepreneurs, very successful business owners, even if they are trying to put out a small lead magnet or a $10,000 course, everyone assumes, I know I could do this myself. But you think about how much time and energy it takes to prompt ChatGPT, to try to gather, I now have to upload every single video into whatever, just try to extract the information. And ultimately I go, how much is your time worth? Because some of these people charge hundreds of dollars per hour. And to go, do you want to sit and spend 8 hours sitting in front of ChatGPT trying to figure it out? Or are you willing to invest to speed up that process to get those returns in a very short time?
Yeah, that's so great. I think even if it was just to take a look at something, not starting from scratch, it's so important and so valuable because you study and you are an expert in that. I am not. Like, I'm an expert in my own things. So I'm going to leave you to be the expert at your thing so I can do my thing better, right? And serve more people at the same time. There was something that I learned from I was on a webinar or something because I love to study and watch what people are doing. When we were talking about the levels of awareness, she was teaching, it in terms of how much time that person is going to give you. So it wasn't about they're aware of the solution, they're not aware of the solution, whatever it was. But it was like, okay, you have like these people, they're super cold. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea what they're even doing out here. They're going to give you like 15 seconds to get that, to do whatever you need to do. The problem I've seen is that people try to have like a 30 minute or 1 hour webinar with the 15-second people. So what are your thoughts on that whenever it comes to time and the amount of attention that someone's willing to give you based off of where they are within your, I'll say, funnel, right? From maybe just seeing you on social media once in a while to actually having consumed your content, right? So what would you say to the person that really wants to do this webinar and wants to attract all these people, but that's the 15-second person, they're not going to be there for them?
I would say you really need to learn who your audience is, right? It's learning about that entire client journey, because if you understand what their true pain point is, right? All of a sudden it's no longer me and they have the me disease. I will tell that to plenty of business owners. You see it in web copy, you see it in emails, even in conversations where they go, I want to do this webinar. And a lot of it comes down to, I have knowledge in my brain that I feel like I must share with the world. And you always have to bring it back and go, but what do they need? What does Jane need? Right? Not the world, not the greater audience, but what does Jane need right now? If Jane is scrolling through Facebook and she is struggling and she is like feeling like her job is a mess, she doesn't know what to do, she doesn't even know what to do for dinner.
Yeah.
The last thing she's going to think about when she sees your ad scroll through is, I'm going to sit for an hour and hear you talk about your expertise. Instead, she's going to go, you know what? If I see that ad that says, are you struggling to think about dinner today? Don't worry, you're not alone. There's a way to fix that and there's a way to make it better. Check this out. And the whole goal there is not to get on the webinar.
Right.
It's simply to get the click.
Yeah.
That's your 15-second person.
Yeah.
15 seconds. You heard me. You understood me. You see me. I'm going to say yes to the click.
Yeah. And I'm going to follow you and see if you have something else to share that I also, resonate with later, but it's not going to happen immediately.
You're just looking for the next yes. And it's just helping business owners recognize it's not just one yes. It's not the sign up to the webinar. It's not the sign up to the $10,000 course. It's simply the yes to, I want to know you. I want to know more about you.
It's becoming less of a sales machine and more human.
Absolutely.
Really, which is, I think, in the marketing bubble, as I like to call it, we've lost a lot of that humanness and become very machine, and very much like the steps that we're talking about going up the ladder, but we're not sharing the human side of it, the struggle side of it, the transformation side of it. We're just trying to get that win right on our side. So copywriting, there's a lot that goes into it because you have to do a lot of research, right, about what it is. Do you like to work within a certain kind of niche, or do you really take on any kind of client?
So my niche for me in particular is coaches and consultants, because they tend to be so specialized and you have to build a stronger relationship in order to have that very intimate discussion. And so that is an area that I excel in, because I recognize the relationship building that they're trying to achieve there. Now, I do work with people of all different industries. In fact, one of my top clients right now is a landscape company in Washington, D.C. But it shows and proves that it doesn't matter what the industry is. And because it's not B2B, it's not B2C, it's all about the H to H. It's the human to human. And if you can keep that at the forefront of any communication that you share with those people, you are going to build that relationship. You're going to strengthen that relationship. And by keeping that in the forefront of your mind, you will work towards that yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. H to H. That's my biggest takeaway right here today. If somebody wants to learn more about you or follow you or even particularly like work with you, how can they find you online?
Definitely find me on LinkedIn. That is where I'm most active. It is Sani Nielsen, Sani Sani. It's a Polynesian spelling, and Nielsen Nielsen. Please look me up on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to connect.
Great. Thanks, Sani, for being here with me today. I loved it.
Thank you so much.